Good morning. I'm sorry Amy's not here because it would have been a wonderful lecture with her too. So there's a lot to offer and we will miss her today. But I want to talk about, and the reason I chose In the Garden for this is, what is your relationship with God? What kind of relationship do you have with a God of your understanding? Most people I talk to, their relationship with God is this beggar. That they think that God has laid out their life and is controlling every step of what happens to them, good or bad, right or wrong. That ultimately, the biggest problem with that is it takes away personal responsibility. In all the years, and know that I have been working with Spirit from the time I was 3. I have been working with people since I was in my 20s. And I've always sought answers because I like to know the knowledge behind something, not just the woo stuff. A lot of woo people out there. Woo. Because in order for this world to operate the way it does, it has to make sense. Things have to make sense. And in the process of that, what sense comes from this? In the Bible, it says that God created light, but nowhere does it say God created darkness. Science tells us that they now believe there is more dark matter than there is light. Kind of fascinating, isn't it? That would mean that the origin of the God that created this universe ultimately had to come from darkness and created light. So why would God create light if God was the infinite all that is? Because it creates its own opposite. If you think about it, how this world is constructed with its own opposite. Positive, negative. Dark, light. And if you really take that back to a science, this room could not exist. You could not exist if both light and dark weren't coming together. You couldn't exist. You would be part of everything and nothing all at the same time. I remember one time I was channeling, actually here at the church, not this church, but in the Methuen church. And I channeled for 45 minutes. And when I did, I was invited to step back so they could take over. And as I stepped back, they said, step back a little further, a little further. And I found myself in a world where there was nothing and everything all at the same time. It was absolutely pitch black, and yet I had the feeling of everything surrounding me at the same time. It was an amazing feeling to be in pure darkness and yet have the feeling that all knowledge and all understanding was there with me at the same time. In the garden, it says that he walks with me, he talks with me, and that nobody else knows what that's like. Well, the truth is, nobody knows what that's like for you. You as an individual, you as a person, because I struggled with that because of the fact that they always say, no one else knows what this is like. And the truth is, nobody can know what it's like if it's your relationship with God. If it's your understanding of how God represents your life. I do have a problem, though, when you have to get down on your knees and worship God. And the reason is because I'm a parent. I have children. I would think that the worst thing in the world to do to them, horrible, was to ask them to get down on their knees and worship me. My job as a parent is to help them to grow and become strong and self-reliant, to find something within themselves that they love, and I get to share in that. I get to share their life. I do believe this world is as simplistic as an atom, that in order for an atom to exist, it requires an equal amount of negative as it has the positive. You can't have one without the other and have balance. I do believe that this world was designed for us to learn balance within ourselves. And that's why I say, nobody knows what your relationship with God is because it's yours. Separate, individual, capable, designed that way. The Bible says that we are children of God. The Bible says, knock and the door shall be opened. The Bible says, what father would give their child a stone if they asked for bread? It's really important for us to, as spiritualists, examine what is our personal relationship with God. Do we come to God like beggars and say, I'm waiting, did I do enough? Have I done enough? Do I deserve it now? Or do we say, we have a mother and we have a father that our physical body was born to. Your mother and your father have a story of where they came from. And working with people, what I find is that people are either repeating their parents' story, or eventually personal responsibility says, this is my life. I didn't create that. I didn't cause their problems. I don't have control over what they do or don't do, but I do have control over me. I do have control over my personal responsibility of my life. And then I get to choose whether I want to involve myself in the trauma dramas of this life. Do I want to get sucked into other people's traumas? Or do I keep a balance within myself? Do I exercise that? I know, working with angels, there isn't a single one of you out here that isn't assigned one at birth. Every single one of you is assigned an angel at birth. The thing is that as soon as people meet their angel and they get a personal relationship with it, they start asking them to pick their toilet paper out. I don't know. What if I choose the wrong one? Can you choose for me? And the truth is, this is your life. They're here to support you. They're here to help you through the struggles and to know personally when things are too hard for you that they can bring somebody else who's in the physical world into your life to help you get through. If you leave yourself open for that. I ask you to think about, what is your relationship with God? We believe that God is an infinite oneness. An infinite oneness would mean neither male nor female. neither dark nor light, but just is. Most of us have grown up with being given an image of God because we're made in God's image. God must look like us. But take that a step further. When you don't have the physical world and you don't have the physical body, what are you? Nothing? Or everything? When you don't have a physical body that holds you in this world, keeps you grounded in this world, what are you? That everything that you possess inside you has a spiritual meaning of something you're trying to learn to understand yourself. If God wanted you to be a lapdog, if God wanted you to be a yes man, yes woman, God could have created that. If God's ego needed to be fed by making somebody get on their knees and act like they're less than, or celebrate, I am a child of God. I'm struggling in a physical world with physical things and physical obstacles and physical people that sometimes drive us crazy. But don't you think we drive God crazy? Just imagine. I imagine that sometimes after some of my behaviors, and I say, boy, my guides must be really patient with me. Because I know. Because they've told me enough times. Usually I get that means I have to step back and look at what I'm doing. They don't tell me I'm wrong. They don't tell me I'm good or bad. They just That's the kind of relationship I have with my guides. That's the kind of relationship I go to God with. That I have human needs and human experience and human expectations. And I know that as I travel into the spirit world and talk to guides and angels, and I talk to masters, the higher I go, the more humble they are, the less egocentric they are. They're harmonious energy. I don't believe in demons and I don't believe in devils. If you spell evil backwards, what do you have? What do you have? Live. If you spell devil backwards, what do you have? Lived. So to me, that's living backwards. That the only evil is the inability to live your own life, and the only devil is living in the past. Playing the blame game. Not my fault, the devil made me do it. Is that the blame game? I find so many people aggrandize things because they think that they need to be special. They need to feel important. And yet you are. You always were. I was told by my angels that there are angels that have taken physical form and lost their way for millennium. An angel got trapped in the physical thought, in the physical mind, and lost their way for millennium. How much more do they celebrate that you would even try? How much more do you think the bravery and knowing you're going to walk into a life where your parents are nuts. Because you got some wacky things you're going to have to go through because of it. And yet you do it anyway. You do it anyway. So what is the reasoning behind that? Because if God wanted you to emulate everything God is, in its own experience, in its own expectations, in its own reality, but does God want you as an individual with your own mind, with your own thoughts, with your own beliefs? And the only thing that counts is your heart condition. When all is said and done, it is the condition of your heart that's going to matter in the end. So we can take on anger, resentment, fears around other people. We can take on these things because we have a planet that's living in fear right now. Are we going to have faith? I am the infinite child of an infinite world with infinite possibilities. And every time I get a situation in my life, am I being reactive to it or proactive with it? Am I looking at problem solving or am I feeling victimized by it? What is your personal relationship with God? Where do you stand in the infinite world? Through all the things I've studied, every atom has intelligence. Every atom does. Every atom responds to us based on how we feel about it. So what if dark matter was really love? What if dark matter was really the glue that kept all of this together for us to experience our understanding of ourselves? Not against God or measuring up to be God, but to allow the God within us to rise and see the world through that eye, through that vision, through that understanding. I have a personal relationship with God, and I wish for every one of you to have that. That when you walk in the garden, no one else knows what it feels like because it's yours. As the God in me blesses and honors the God in you.
Thank you.